Okay, hello guys. Let's practice isa pa. Sa trial lang. Tapos tingnan natin if it will help. So, let's discuss things about antiderivatives. So, capital F of x is said to be an antiderivative of f of x. So, yung antiderivative capital, yung notation, yung function is small letter if the following holds. Ibig sabihin, yung derivative should be the function given. So, for example, let's illustrate this as an example. So, f of x equals sin x and small f of x equals cosine x. So, we want to check if the capital F of x ba is an antiderivative of small letter f of x. So, we check for the derivative f prime of x. So, sin x, take the derivative equals cosine x. Then, the capital 1 is an antiderivative kasi nga nag-equal yung derivatives. And take note na yung derivative ng constant is always equal to 0. So, ano yung ginagawa nun? So that kapag ka nag-add tayo sa mga function ng constant, then yung capital F of x natin is of the form sin x plus c. Kung saan yung c mo is any real number. Okay? Antiderivative pa rin siya ng f of x. So that is, kapag meron kang antiderivative na capital F of x, then, kapag dinagdagan mo siya ng c, then f of x plus c is also an antiderivative of small letter f. So to illustrate, sige, isa pa, is yung number 2. So we find the general form for the antiderivative of f of x equals x squared plus 1. So yung answer is, gusto lang natin, no, yung capital F, pag tinake natin yung derivative, dapat equal siya dun sa small letter. So the idea is, paano ka ba magkakaroon ng x squared? So dapat galing siya sa x cubed. That's why, yung una dyan dapat x cubed lang, no? But, the derivative of x cubed kasi is 3x squared. That's why, we have to divide pa by 3. And, saan nang galing yung 1? Yun yung derivative ng x. And, lagi, by this property, just append plus c palagi. Huwag nyo kakalimutan yung plus. Okay? And lastly, as an example, we find f of x or the antiderivative for f of x equals secant of 2x plus secant of 2x times tangent of 2x. So the answer is, yung f of x natin, the antiderivative is, again, saan nang galing yung secant x tangent x? Galing yan sa secant of 2x. Pero, pag tinignan ninyo, yung secant of 2x, pag derivative is equal to secant of 2x tangent of 2x. Pero gusto natin, by chain rule, times 2 pa yan. Pero we want yung secant 2x times tangent of 2x lang. Kaya, dinivide natin yung secant of 2x by 2. And the general antiderivative is f of x equals secant of 2x over 2 plus c. Huwag kakalimutan yung plus c. Okay? Sige. With that, yung next is, for as an application of antiderivatives, pag-usapan natin yung rectilinear motions. Okay, yan, sige. So, yung next natin gagawin is yung initial value problems and mga rectilinear motions. So, this is an application of antiderivative. So, recall lang natin that capital F of x is an antiderivative of small letter f of x if the derivative of the capital 1 is going to be equal to yung small letter f of x natin. So, recall natin that f of x is an antiderivative of f of x, then pati si f of x plus c for any real number c is also an antiderivative. So, yun yung ginagawa ng initial value problem. Given initial conditions, the goal is to find the value of c. Okay? So, may mga initial condition tayo on f of x or small letter f of x. So, let's try to illustrate that with a couple of examples. For example, we solve the IVP, the initial value problem. Yung f of x, small letter f of x equals 5x to the 4th minus 2x to the 5th with the initial condition f of 0 is equal to 0. So, ganun pa rin naman yung solution. Yung solution is, hanapin mo yung antiderivative. F of x will be equal to, again, saan nanggaling x to the 4th? Nanggaling siya sa x to the 5th, pero kailangan natin yung over 5. Okay? minus yung x to the 5th, saan siya nanggaling? That will be 2, that's the derivative of x to the 6th. And palagi natin tayo nag-a-append ng plus c. Again, to double check kung ito yung solution is, i-take niyo yung derivative ng capital F of x na nakuha ninyo. Dapat maka-return siya dito sa small letter f of x. Okay? And now, ayusin lang natin, cancel yung 5. Cancel yung 5, then cancelin lang yung 2, kaya naging 1/3. And lastly, pasok lang natin yung initial condition. Yung initial condition is f of 0 will go to 0. Pero pag pinasok natin yung 0, yun lang yung mangyayari, so we'll get c is equal to 0. And therefore, yung particular solution natin na capital F of x is x to the 5th minus 1/3 x to the 6th. Kasi nga, yung plus c natin, plus 0 lang siya. Okay, so ito na yung final answer natin. Another example is, we find f such that the derivative of f is this function such that f of negative 1 is equal to 2. Actually, iba lang yung notation, no? Hindi na capital and small letter. Pero ganun pa rin, no? Para makuha mo yung f prime of t, saan siya nanggaling? So, it is asking for what's the antiderivative of f prime of t. So, ganun lang ulit. A solution, yung f of t natin will be saan nanggaling x to the 4th. That will be from x to the 5th over 5. Tapos, yung x squared is nanggaling sa x cubed over 3. Tapos, yung 4, yung constant, laging didikitan lang natin ng x. And wag kalimutan yung plus c. Okay? So, ayusin lang natin. Cancel yung 5, cancel yung 3. So, we have this antiderivative. And again, we want that f of negative 1 equals 2. So, yung last step natin, ipasok lang natin yung negative 1 and solve for c. So that we have c is equal to 6. Such that, yung initial value problem natin ay may solution na x to the 5th minus x cubed plus 4x plus 6. Ang tawag dito yung mga particular solution. Okay? So, yung next is, aralin natin yung mga, sige, pause nyo lang kapag kailangan ng pages. So, yung next is yung mga rectilinear motion natin. So, yung mga rectilinear motion is, ito yung mga notation natin. S of t will the position function. B of t will be the velocity function. And A of t will be the acceleration function. Pakitandaan lang, no? When B of t is negative, ibig sabihin, papalapit ka sa point of reference. At kapag yung acceleration mo naman is negative, ibig sabihin naman nun, nag-decrease yung speed mo. Okay? So, ano yung relationship? Yung natural relationship niya is, when you take s prime of t, it will go to b of t. Kasi, ang s prime of t is ds over dt. So, change in position over time. And actually, velocity yun. And kapag kinuha niyo yung s double prime of t, which is equal to b prime of t, that will be the acceleration per time t. Okay? So, isang isang mahalagang application lang to ng initial value problems. Given ng position, velocity, and acceleration, how to find each other kapag given ng mga initial conditions. Okay? So, for example, gawa tayo ng isang example. Yung b of t natin equals to sin t minus cosine t, for which s of 0 is equal to 0. So, kunin lang natin yung, again, yung idea is hanapin yung position function. So, again, para makuha natin to, hanapin natin, kasi we know that b of t is s prime of t. So, dapat yung s prime of t yan. So, hinahanap lang natin kung saan nang galing or what's the antiderivative of the velocity function. And that will come from s of t will be, ano nga yung may derivative na sign? Huwag nyo kalimutan, that's negative cosine t. And ano yung function na cosine t yung derivative that will come from sine t. And to double check, i-take nyo yung derivative nito, this should be sine t minus cosine t. And again, we want that s of 0 is equal to 0, so pasok lang natin. S of 0 is equal to negative cosine of 0 minus sine of 0, which is equal to, dapat 0 yan, no? Plus c muna, plus c. Plus c. So, dapat, this is equal to 0, pero cosine ni 0 is negative 1 minus sine 0 is 0 plus c is equal to 0. So, we get c is equal to 1. So, yung position function natin, s of t is equal to, yung position function natin is negative cosine t minus sine t plus 1. Yan yung general solution natin for the position function. Okay? So, wala pa yung acceleration pero it goes something like that. Ngayon, mag-discuss tayo ng couple of examples about initial value problems. So, number 1, find the antiderivative capital F of x if small f of x is 5 times x raised to 2/3. Kung saan, ito yung initial condition, f of 8 equals 21. So, we have, kunin natin antiderivative nito, again, that will be yung exponent, ma-add ng 1, divided by the new exponent. Then, huwag kalimutan yung plus c palagi. Okay, simplifying, we get 5x raised to 5/3 over 5/3. Kasi ito magiging reciprocal siya, no? So, mag-cancel yung 5, matitira is 3. 3x raised to 5/3 plus c. And, yun yung ano, no? Kaya siya initial value problems. Kasi, lalagyan natin yung initial condition. So, sabi natin f of 8 equals 21. So, ibig sabihin, pag sinubstitute natin lahat ng x na 8, we'll get 21. So, that 3 times 8 raised to 5/3 plus c equals 21. And pakitandaan, ang ibig sabihin ng raised to 1/3 is nagtitake ng cube root. So, cube root ng 8 is 2 raised to 5. Magiging 32 yan. So, 32 times 3 is 96. Dilipat ko na sa kabilang side. Kaya nagkaroon ka ng c equals 21 minus 96. So, that c equals negative 75. And after mo makuha yung c, pasok mo na siya sa antiderivative. So, that yung capital F of x is 3x raised to 5/3 minus 75. Okay? Yan. Next is, paano kapag ka-double derivative yung given? Find f of x if the double derivative of f is negative 2 plus 12x minus 12x squared, subject to initial condition, f of 0 is 4 and f prime of 0 is 12. So, ganun lang din naman yung idea na isa-isang antiderivative lang. So, first, we take the antiderivative of the second derivative of f, so that, ang mangyayari is, negative 2 magiging negative 2x, 12x will be 12x squared over 2, negative 12x squared will be negative 12x cubed over 3, plus, lagyan ko lang ng c1 kasi dalawang beses ako magka-antiderivative. Okay? So, simplify lang. So, get 2x plus 6x squared minus 4x cubed plus c1. Okay? And then, initial condition, f of 0 is 12. So, pasok lahat ng x. We'll get c1 equals 12. Okay? And, lastly, kapag nakuha mo na yung f prime of x, i-antiderivative ulit natin. So, you get 2x squared over 2 plus 6x cubed over 3 minus 4x to the 4th over 4 plus 12x plus, again, c2 kasi ito yung pangalawang anti-differentiation natin. So that we get x squared plus 2x cubed minus x to the 4th plus 12x plus c2. So that we get c2 equals 4. And thus, yung f of x natin is, pasok lang natin, no, yung 4. So, negative x to the 4 plus 2x cubed plus x squared plus 12x plus 4. Inayos ko lang para yung order ng mga degrees. And, pakitandaan no, na madali yung example na to kasi we take the initial condition 0. So, nagka-cancel out lahat ng may mga x. So, next, tingnan natin yung mga non-trivial example kapag meron tayong mga rectilinear motions. Yeah, sige. Now, we discuss a couple of example about rectilinear motion. So, let's just recall that s of t is the position function, b of t is the velocity function, which is the first derivative of the position function, and a of t is the acceleration function given by the second derivative of the position function and syempre first derivative ng velocity function. So in example number 3, we find the position function s of t given that b of t, the velocity function, is t squared minus 3 squared root of t, subject to the initial condition that the position at time 4 is 8. So yung b of t is just the first derivative of s of t. So what we do is we take the antiderivative of t squared minus 3t, 3 squared root of t. So we have t cubed over 3 minus 3 times, again, no, plus 1 lang, then divided by the new exponent. Tapos huwag kalimutan yung plus c when you are doing antidifferentiation. Okay, so simplifying, this will take, we take the reciprocal of 3 halves, so we get 2 times 2 raised to 3 halves lang. And after that, the initial condition s of 4 is 8. So s of 4, pasok lang natin lahat ng t equals 4. Tapos equate natin siya sa 8. Okay? So doing this is 64 over 3 minus, ang ibig sabihin ng 3 halves, no, square root muna natin. So we'll get 8 times 2 is 16. Tapos lipat na lang natin sa kabila, we'll get c equals 8 over 3. So that the position function is this, pero palitan lang natin ng c na 8 over 3. So we have s of t equals t cubed over 3 minus 2t raised to 3 halves plus 8 over 3. Okay? Yan. And next, we find the position function s of t given that the acceleration function is 3 cosine of t minus 2 sine t subject to s of 0 equals 0 and the initial velocity b of 0 is 4. Again, a of t is b prime. So we can take the antiderivative of a of t so that we will get the velocity function. So, antiderivative ng cosine, sine lang yun, no? Antiderivative ng negative sign is cosine. Plus c1. Again, c1 and c2 kasi twice tayo mag-antiderivative. And again, b of 0 is equals 4. So, b of 0 is 3 sine 0 plus 2 cosine 0 plus c1. And sine 0 is just 0. Cosine of 0 is 1. And c1 remains the same. So, we get, transpose natin sa other side. Ito, magiging 0 lang yan, no? So, we get c1 equals 2. And next, b of t is the first derivative of the position function. So again, we just antiderivative. So we get s of t is negative 3 cosine t plus 2 sine t plus 2t plus c2. Again, no, c2 kasi may constant tayo na i-add palagi. And s of 0 is just 0. Usually, s of 0, initial position mo usually dapat sa 0. Kasi kadalasan sa ground. So, we have negative 3 cosine 0 is negative 3 times 1. 2 sine 0 is 2 times 0. Plus 2 times 0 is also 0. So, we get plus c2 is equal to 0. Tapos, lipat na natin sa kabilang side to kasi this will go to 0 naman. So, we get c2 equals 3. And therefore, the position function is given by negative 3 cosine of t plus 2 sine t plus 2t kung saan yung c2 natin is 3. Okay?